Top 10 football myths you thought were true. 10. Pep Guardiola inherited a world-class squad at Barca. Ronaldinho, Deco, Eto'o and Henry. World-class players? Yes, but at the end of the 2007-2008 season, were Barcelona a world-class team? Hardly. In Frank Rijkaard's ill-fated last year as Barcelona manager, they finished third, 18 points off eventual champions Real Madrid, and perhaps more damningly, they only won 3 of their last 15 league games. This included a 4-1 loss at the Bernabeu, and the club, quite frankly, were in freefall. In stepped rookie manager and former club legend Pep Guardiola, fresh from a year in charge of Barcelona B. He immediately set about the job, selling the hugely popular Ronaldinho and Deco before signing Sevilla's galloping right-back Dani Alves, as well as prodigal son Gerard Piqué. His decision to promote from within can't be overlooked either. Sergio Busquets became a first-team regular at 20, along with the diminutive Pedro. A move to the false 9 position for a young Lionel Messi followed too, and the Argentinian's goal tally went from 18 to 38 in Pep's first season. Then from 38 to 47, 53 and 73 in the following 3 years. The board maestro made it look easy, but it was a combination of meticulous preparation, unrivaled knowledge of La Masia, and brave calls that created the platform for his success, not the inheritance of a ready-made side like many have come to believe. 9. Possession wins you games. More often than not, possession, the enigmatic mistress of football, is the first statistic we analyse to determine how a game was played out. This trend must stop. It has become lazy shorthand for good teams keep the ball and bad teams don't. Leicester won the league in 2015-16 with 42% of the ball and a miserly pass accuracy of 70%, comfortably the worst in the division. But their transition game was lightning fast, with Kante winning the ball back 10 times a game and the team converting 14% of their shots. The norm is around 8%. Conversely, Pep and Xavi's all-conquering Barcelona side would often use possession-based football to lull sides into breaking rank. This has been labelled proactive possession and is heavily reliant on players who can shift through the gears, like Iniesta and Messi. Let's not forget little-known manager Jose Mourinho too, winner of 2 Champions Leagues, who once beat a Munich side at home with just 28% of possession. So to conclude, possession has hundreds of different outcomes and, like a lot of things in life, it's not how much you have, it's how you use it. 8. Soccer is a US term. If your face doesn't shrivel up in disgust when Americans say soccer instead of football, then chances are you're not from mainland Europe. But as much as we may despise them for it, soccer is a term taken from the 19th century British term association rules, which at the time differentiated what we've come to know as football from rugby. The game was popularly known in Britain as a soccer until around 1900, when the prefix was dropped and the noun soccer was born and adopted by the Americans. Still, we all love an easy target. 7. Pelé stopped a civil war. For many years it's been reported that Pelé stopped a brutal civil war in Nigeria because the 2 opposing factions wanted to watch him and his Santos side strut their stuff as the world-famous football machine. This legend has since been perpetuated by the likes of Time magazine, The Guardian, CNN and other respected publications, until a little-known writer from Huddersfield, Olaojo Ayegbayo, set the record straight. Ayegbayo makes clear that Santos' main objective while on the continent was to make lucrative sums of money from exhibition matches and not to broker peace. Santos were paid a whopping £11,000 by the Nigerian Football Association, that's roughly $140,000 today, to play against the Green Eagles. All seem morally above board until you remember that people were dying of famine on a daily basis. Ayegbayo also points towards the lack of primary evidence in Nigerian papers of the time. Both the Nigerian Daily Times in Lagos and the Nigerian Observer in Benin covered the game extensively, making them extremely credible sources, and both make no claim of a ceasefire. Pelé himself also appears to have adopted the myth in earnest, even though he failed to mention it in his 1977 autobiography. An odd thing to leave out, it would seem. 6. Mario Balotelli and the rumours. Balotelli, maverick, prima donna, entertainer. If there's a footballer who can give the most outlandish tale and air of believability, it's him. His list of off-field capers is seemingly endless. from giving casino winnings to the homeless, racing around a go-kart track in his Ferrari, to setting his house on fire. There's rarely a dull moment when it comes to Super Mario. Some of our personal favourites that sadly aren't true include straightening out a school bully, donating £2,000 to a homeless man, and throwing darts at youth team players. But, never failing to disappoint, Mario did brawl with both Jerome Boateng and Roberto Mancini in training, he did set his bathroom alight with fireworks, and he did donate his Bentley to a Milan teammate. To be fair, unlike Pele, he's fairly quick to quash the untrue stories, especially when he sits down with his old chum, Noel Gallagher. 5. Serie A is a defensive league. Italian football is a league stuffed full of catenaccio merchants and bore draws, or so we have been told by many a stupid Englishman with ketchup down his string vest. But this is simply not the case. In fact, last season Serie A outscored all of the other top 5 leagues in the past 2 years, with 979 goals in 2015-16 and 1,024 the year before that. Its nearest contender last term was La Liga, where there were 968 goals, but of those, Barcelona and Real Madrid netted a monstrous 222. Ligue 1 fares much worse, with just 960 goals flying in, 4 more than the English Premiership. But just look at the way Juve dominate, we hear you cry. Well, Juve were actually sitting at second until game week 25 last season, and didn't take top spot until mid-February with a Napoli team that included 36-goal Higuain. So think again before you call Serie A boring. 4. India turned down the World Cup. Many football fans have heard the tale of how the 1950s Indian national football team refused to play at a World Cup because FIFA wouldn't let them play barefoot. This, however, is utter nonsense, as is the rumour that they could not afford travel costs to the tournament due to be hosted in Brazil. In fact, the real reason the Indian side did not take part in that year's edition was because they deemed it relatively unimportant, placing greater emphasis on the Olympics. The following year, the South Asian side won gold at the 1951 Asian Games and placed 4th ahead of Team GB and Australia in the 1956 Olympics. So the decision appeared to be vindicated at the time. But sadly, they haven't qualified for the tournament since, and have slipped to 137th in the FIFA rankings. 3. Ryan Giggs should have played for England. Born in Wales, Ryan Wilson, who later adopted his mother's name Giggs, represented England's schoolboys, though this was only due to his residence in Manchester. Because of this, many fans believe he should have gone on to wear the 3 lions. However, many Scotsmen, Welshmen and Irishmen alike have played for the schoolboys while still representing the youth systems of their respective countries. The Manchester United legend has donned the Welsh Dragon from the under-18 side upwards and never flirted with the prospect of going against his family's heritage. Therefore, sadly, the myth that England should have had that left winger the golden generation was missing is, and always will be, a lie. 2. Roy Keane ended that bloke's career. Roy Keane was known as a footballing hardman, and as such had more than his fair share of enemies, from Patrick Vieira to Alf Inge Haaland. And it was the latter who caused the most controversy, with the now infamous story of Roy Keane ending Haaland's career, in revenge for the Norwegian mocking Keano when he suffered a serious ACL injury. In a game against Man City, the United pitbull went in studs up above Haaland's knee, causing him to flip in midair and be stretchered off the field. The myth goes that Haaland never played the game again. However, in actual fact, Haaland continued to play for another season before a serious ligament injury to his other leg forced early retirement. 1. Cristiano's a wanker. Self-absorbed, selfie-peddling, egotistical you-know-what, just a few words that spring to mind when you think of C-Rock. But in reality, the Portuguese is one of the most charitable football players on the planet, donating 6-figure sums to various cancer centres across Portugal and raising awareness for Save the Children's Nepal Earthquake Relief Fund. And let's not forget the numerous other gestures, from shaving his head to match a cancer patient's to paying for a sick child's surgery. There are a fair amount of heartwarming stories to boot. So look beyond the footballing tantrums, flashy cars and the outrageous self-promotion, and you'll find a generous, airbrushed athlete who likes to help the little man, albeit whilst posing in his underwear.
So there we have it, but what do you guys at home think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you click here for loads more great content and down there to subscribe. And as always guys, we'll catch you later.